Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of me reading things off of a laptop screen at you. Um, so, I was gone for like a week after PAX East, and obviously I'm still adjusting to the time zone change and everything a little bit, but it's been about a week-ish, maybe a little more, since all that stuff went down and got back to California after spending a while on the East Coast and writing up a bunch of news and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna begin the usual kind of news summary thing again, just for people who have missed out on some of the news over the last week. I'm gonna do a quick recap of all the articles I posted in terms of news. Reviews, I don't think there were any to do really over the last week. Defiance was really the only big thing that came out, and that's kind of like a tough thing to review. Being like a constantly changing online game and all that. So mostly just news, and then plans for the next week or next couple of weeks. And I'm just gonna kind of really quickly start from the first piece of news that I wrote when I got back from vacation on PAX East, and then work up to today and the weekend, and then what's coming up next. So the big thing coming out of PAX East was probably Borderlands 2, and I got back right in time for the Ultimate Vault Hunter upgrade pack to drop for $5 on Xbox Live Arcade, PlayStation Network, and Steam. So you can now upgrade to the Ultimate Vault Hunter pack, which includes Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, which is kind of like a new difficulty level designed for second or third playthrough. And you can level up to level 61, which is an 11 level increase over the old level cap of 50. And there's a bunch of other stuff in there too, which you can get the gist of in the article or in the recap of Gearbox's PAX East panel, which we wrote up in 6 big parts. That was just a really dense panel. And then after that, Black Ops 2 got some DLC as well, or it will be getting it on Xbox Live Arcade soon, or Xbox Live Marketplace. It's called the Uprising map pack, like the last map pack, and like you'd probably expect after the last 3 or 4 years. There's 4 multiplayer maps in it and 1 zombies map. So the names of the maps were actually leaked before they were supposed to be via some kind of promotional materials in stores. So the maps are Vertigo, Encore, Magma, and Studio. Yeah, and so those were later confirmed to be pretty much what we speculated them to be. Magma being this kind of active volcano level where you have to avoid lava flow. Vertigo is like this kind of high up skyscraper-ish sort of level. Encore is a level in a giant arena, like a music arena. And Studio is like a recording, like acting kind of studio, just fighting through this abandoned environment. And then there's new zombies map and mode out. Pretty standard stuff at this point. Moving down to the last article that we wrote up from PAX East, which shouldn't be the last thing overall that we put up, because I do still have a lot of pictures that I want to post, and I tried kind of like live posting them from the event while I was there, but there was something with like I was having issues because I took them all on my smartphone as I was just running around. I was having issues with uploading more than one image to the article from the smartphone, and just the connection not being super great and taking forever to upload images. So I'm gonna have to see about like getting all this into an article and just having like a big list of every picture I took there, because there's some pretty cool stuff. But anyway, the last thing that I have, my legs, they're gone. Last thing I have written about PAX East so far is the return of stealth in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which takes a look at an interesting quote from the Ubisoft presentation of Black Flag at PAX East, and how they're trying to kind of bring back the return of, sneaking. Assassin's Creed 3 was straight up like an action game. There were barely any assassination sequences in it. You didn't really have to worry about whether or not people were seeing you. And certain missions in Assassin's Creed 4 aim to change that. And also kind of touched on at PAX East, but expanded on in this trailer, which we have posted, is a retrospective of the BioWare Mass Effect trilogy from the developers. That's pretty interesting. They seem pretty proud of their work, as they should be. A lot of people really passionately care about that series, so I think that pride is kind of warranted. EA talks about Battlefield 4 and calls it less of a lone wolf experience. They want to focus more on the human drama of the battle rather than kind of the story of the war, which was something that Battlefield 3 touched on a little bit with stuff like the tank mission with the T-Rex kind of toy and the execution and stumbling upon the execution site and all that stuff. But Battlefield 4 supposedly is going to be kind of amping all that stuff up. I think we saw sort of their attempt at doing that in that big 17-minute trailer which they released, which started out with everybody in that, I guess it was like a Humvee that had driven off a cliff and was flooding, and you had to shoot out the window and leave the guy behind. And, so I guess that's kind of the first public glimpse of them trying to make things a little more personal for that game. I don't know if that necessarily worked for me in that trailer. Maybe it was kind of goofy, a little bit like cutting the leg and like hit E to cut leg and that stuff. It's interesting that they're going in that direction, or at least trying to go in that direction, so we'll see how it goes. Not necessarily sure that it worked super well in the first trailer, especially juxtaposed against like a helicopter crashing at you and like the buildings collapsing everywhere and all these crazy car chases with the helicopters like shooting you off the road and like all this ridiculous action stuff going on. We'll see how they balance that. Hopefully very well. We've written up, started a guide to voxophone locations in BioShock Infinite. If you haven't collected all these things, they are really important to actually understanding kind of the finer elements of that game's story, especially when you get to the twist in the end. So, if you haven't found them all, you might find yourself kind of scratching your head at the end of that game a little bit more than you really should be. So, look into finding all those collectibles if you are playing that game. A Battlefield 4 release date may have been leaked. Sources are saying that it's targeting an October 29th release for PS3, Xbox 360, and presumably PC, and then should launch alongside next-gen consoles. Presumably those are releasing in November. More on that for the Xbox in a second. So, should be a launch game for next-gen. We are giving away all the swag from PAX East. There's already a video up about that. There's a post on the site about that too. And there's a post on our Facebook page about it as well. So if you want to enter to win all this swag, we have 20 items that we're giving away: t-shirts, pins, wristbands, lanyards, all kinds of weird other stuff. If you want to win any of that stuff, there's 3 ways to enter. You can go to GameShampoo.com/magazine and look for the article, PAX East 2013 swag giveaway. It is featured in the news section, the conventions and events section, and you should be able to find it on the featured articles sidebar. And you can comment on that. We have all the instructions written inside of the article. You can also head to the Facebook page and look for the post linking to that article and like it for another chance to win. And finally, you can head over to YouTube, which you should already be on, I guess, and go to our channel, search for the video that is kind of summing up and showing off everything that we're giving away, which is also linked in the bottom of the article on the site, and comment on the video. And those are your 3 ways to enter. So we have until Wednesday, so a couple more days left, and then we're going to announce winners soon. So that should be pretty fun. Bioshock Infinite board game was revealed, where you can fight for the Vox Populi. I was totally blanking on that for some reason. Played like 25 hours of that game over the weekend and somehow still blanked on that for a second. So you can play either with the government or with the Vox Populi and kind of fight for your team while Booker and Elizabeth are running around doing all these story events that are changing timelines and opening up tears and all this stuff that should affect how the game plays out to the end. An official rule set hasn't been released yet, but you can pre-order, so check out the details on our site. Microsoft is talking about the next-gen Xbox a little bit, unofficially. One of their employees took to Twitter to say deal with it when it comes to always-on next-gen consoles, something that a lot of people have gotten up in arms about, and Microsoft has since come out and said, hey, for one thing, we haven't even said that the next Xbox is always on. For the record, money is on the fact that it most likely will be. But they said, hey, we haven't said that it's always on yet, and this guy doesn't speak for us. These are his personal opinions that he's airing on Twitter, because the guy was acting like a douche, and people were arguing and bringing up very valid counterpoints to having an always-on console, and he was just saying, deal with it. Like, that's not an argument, man. So Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon screens have been leaked out, and since then, actually just today, the game was confirmed and given an official synopsis. It's coming in May. It takes place in the future of 2007 as envisioned by people in the 1980s through sort of this Judge Dredd kind of neon-soaked lens where everybody's a cyborg, and you have to run around this open world island and kill all these rogue cyborgs with these weird future weapons and stuff. It looks completely bizarre and doesn't seem to have anything to do with Far Cry 3 except being open world, being a shooter, and being on an island. So I don't even know why they're really calling it Far Cry 3 at this point. It is a standalone release, so it's not an expansion even. I guess we'll see if there's some kind of hidden similarity or story connection or something between the two things. It looks really cool. I really like the aesthetic that they're going for with that. The heavy synth beats and the washed out, bright, colorful graphics. So we'll see how it goes. As of right now, it's supposed to release on May 1st. So more details on that soon. Borderlands 2 got a massive update on the Mac, which allowed for compatibility with the last 5 expansion packs, although not the Ultimate Vault Hunter upgrade pack that was released a couple days ago. But at least Mac owners are almost up to date now. They can play Captain Scarlet, they can play the Campaign of Carnage, all that other stuff, and they can play it all co-op through the Game Center, which is nice. Stuff has been a long time coming. EA COO and potential future CEO Peter Moore talked a little bit about the worst company in America poll, which is going on again this year, and which sees EA being a front runner again. So last year they won worst company in America over Bank of America, over BP, over all these other companies, and I think it's pretty clear. One, I think it's pretty clear what the message is behind that people aren't satisfied with EA's business practices. They aren't satisfied with the constant microtransactions in $60 games like Dead Space 3 and Tiger Woods and that kind of stuff. They're not satisfied with the driving into the ground of franchises like Medal of Honor, which resulted in the death of Medal of Honor. And just this constant okay, we're gonna try and make all of our shooter franchises be like Call of Duty, and all these kind of all these other practices that the company engages in. And Peter Moore attributed EA's win last year to the Mass Effect 3 ending debacle and the perception that EA supported SOPA when in fact they opposed SOPA. And I don't think that's true at all, because the company is already making strong headway in this year's poll. It's already beaten out some of its other competitors, and it looks like it might be on the fast track to the finals. It's in the semifinals right now, I believe. And there's no Mass Effect 3 ending this year. There's no SOPA, being publicly talked about this year. EA is just trying to think of like a PC way to put this. Like they've been making all the wrong decisions lately from a customer service standpoint. They have I guess there is the whole SimCity servers thing, which they've taken a lot of flack for, and which they deserve to have taken a lot of flack for, I think, because they've been saying like, oh no, like it requires those servers to be always running to have all these features, and we store all this data like in the cloud and all this stuff, and then modders have come out and modded the game, and it turns out most of that stuff isn't even true. So so Peter Moore says that EA can do better and they will do better, and they definitely can do better, and I hope that they do start to do better over the next generation. If Battlefield 4 does take a more like personal approach like DICE was saying it would, I think that would be an interesting start down that path. So we'll see how it all goes. But Peter Moore promises better things from EA's future, and that's exciting. So stay tuned for updates or whatever actually happens with EA. Capcom posted Remember Me PC system requirements, so we have those listed on the site. And then we get into some current stuff. Blizzard talks about StarCraft Ghost and specifically notes that it has, quote unquote, has never been canceled. And so when they asked if it may still come out, they said maybe. So that's interesting and weird and kind of out of the blue. Seeing as how that game was due out in I think 2003 on consoles and pretty much hasn't been heard from since. The fact that could still be in development could make it like a Duke Nukem Forever situation all over again if it should ever come out, hopefully with better results. I already talked about the Xbox 720 or the Durango a little bit, so we're going to loop back to it and say that rumors have come out recently from tech bloggers and from The Verge that supposedly confirm a May 21st reveal for the console. It was originally slated to be revealed in April. Something caused them to delay the reveal, and now it is set for reveal at the end of May. Other rumors have the console releasing at retail in November and costing $500. So obviously those are all rumors. We'll have to wait until the actual event to see, but if so, that doesn't sound completely out of line with what to expect from the next Xbox, as well as kind of like what the PS4 is setting things up to probably cost. Skyrim got legendary skills today and a huge series of bug fixes, one of the funniest of which is fixed a bug in which couriers sometimes appear wearing only a hat, which I've never seen before, but that sounds hilarious. So if you have been having problems with getting a quest to complete or multiple other things, we have a huge list of every fix in the patch and a description of the legendary skills as well, which kind of let you like reset the skill so that it remains powerful, but using it will not prevent you from leveling up like your core level. Tales of Xillia is set to release in the US on August 6th. Just got a release date today, so that's exciting. And finally, we just posted a guide to all the data recorder locations in Defiance. So if you've been having trouble with that, check out the guide. So that's the last week, and I don't think there really are any major releases coming out for the next week. I know Injustice is coming out on the 16th, but that's still a little ways away. I'm just going to hop on Steam because I do want to see if they have a date for the next Dishonored DLC, The Knife of Dunwall. Okay, they do. And it's April 15th, so yeah. That is also not coming out over the next week. It's coming out week after. Definitely going to be coverage of both Injustice and Dishonored. Expect an unboxing of Injustice, and then obviously we can't do that with Dishonored DLC, but we'll try to have, like, I'm sure there will be collectibles or, runes or something to collect in there, and we'll have guides up for whatever is actually in that game when it comes out. So, let's see what's coming soon. I don't really think there's anything coming out over this next week. Have a Trackmania 2 Stadium listed on here, but with a really vague release date of just April. So if that does come out, I do have it pre-ordered on Steam. Trackmania is pretty cool, so maybe that, or maybe nothing. I don't know. Looks like a pretty sparse week for the next week, so I guess just expect more news, obviously, and whatever guides we can come up with for Defiance or Bioshock Infinite, or even Dishonored, Knife of Dunwall, or Injustice before they release, if we can get our hands on some tips or cheats or locations, collectibles kind of things from the publisher. We'll see how that goes. So I guess it's kind of a tentative, I don't know, not much of anything really next week except for the usual news and guides. Week after that seems pretty exciting though. I liked Mortal Kombat, so Injustice is looking pretty cool, from the same developer, in case you didn't know or weren't keeping up with it or whatever. I liked Dishonored a lot. That made our top 10 last year, so looking forward to Knife of Dunwall finally being able to get some really substantial DLC. The last one was kind of just arena stuff. So yeah, that's it, I guess. Thanks for watching.